The great philosopher Shannon Sharpe, formerly of the National Football League, and his muse, Professor Dyson of some college in Washington, D.C., are always happy to tell us their fairy tales about black criminality. Colin, it does not exist. Colin, everybody knows that all crime is black on black or white on white or Amish on Amish. And because it's all just contained inside the race, there's no such thing as racial crime, Colin. Doesn't really matter, does it? Then we got a guy, one of our more dedicated trolls over at Twitter. I can't even pronounce his last name, but he also tells us the same thing. Guess he watches a lot of MSNBC as well. He reminds us, crime is at a 40-year low, but your feed is nothing but screeching racism. Pathetic. Well, there's two questions I cannot get any one of these three guys to answer. One, if crime is going down all over the place, why are there cities like Baltimore, Cleveland, and lots of other cities like Wilmington, Delaware, lots of other places like school districts? We just did a video on this the other day. Why are there so many places where officials are looking into the camera and saying, crime is out of control? We've never seen it like this here before. That's my first question. Here's my second question. Why did Marissa Joy Edmunds have to die?
A robbery turned violent last night at an apartment complex in Ypsilanti, and now a woman is dead and a man badly hurt. Police got a 911 call from the Huron View Apartments near Eastern Michigan University. Rod Maloney has the story.
It appears this all started out as a robbery. Two men entering the apartment building, armed, and robbing a number of residents. But it looks like things got out of hand. Shortly before midnight, Ypsilanti police say two armed men dressed in black, one with a black backpack, entered this apartment building at 710 Green Street. Initial reports say that they were robbing residents inside of property and also of drugs. In the daylight, we see the Michigan State Police Crime Lab at the scene because they need all the help they can get in investigating this robbery gone violently wrong. The gunmen came prepared to use their handguns. When police arrived after a 911 call, they found an unidentified white male on the floor in the common stairwell area coming into the building with a gunshot wound to the head. They rushed him to the hospital where he's now listed in critical condition. Then, investigating further, they discovered a white female, also shot in the head, dead inside of her apartment. She, too, went identified as to allow notice of next of kin. The subjects who got away are described as two African-American males, both 5'11" tall, with thin builds.
Why don't we take a look at Marissa's Facebook photos, some of them. Of course, we learned from the reporter in the room, that this may have been a drug deal. There may have been drugs in the place. Maybe Marissa was hanging around with the wrong people doing the wrong things. I do not know. But if you look at her Facebook page, her photos, what you really see is just a young girl, a kid. I think she's 25. She's a kid doing what all kids are doing. She's looking for boyfriend. She's discarding boyfriends. She's mourning the loss of one boyfriend, celebrating the acquisition of another. She's posting pictures of her friends at parties. Maybe she smoked a little weed along the way. This is just a regular old person with a regular old life and a regular old Facebook page. And now she's dead because a couple of black guys walked into her apartment and shot her in the head. And nobody can tell us why. All we get is, Colin, you're a bad person for noticing this is happening. All we get is, well, it's not really happening, Colin. All we get is, well, white people do it too. All we get is, white people deserve it. And around and around and around we go. Everybody likes to talk about the numbers. Nobody wants to talk about Marissa Joy Edmunds and the enormous hole that's going to be left in the life of her family because she's gone, because a couple of black people just walked into her apartment and shot her in the head dead. Is this a one-off thing? People who watch these videos, is this the first time you've ever heard of a white kid being shot in a college apartment by a couple other fellows who think there's some pot or some money or some drugs in there, and they're not sure about that. But one thing they are sure is that a couple of fellows walking into a room full of white kids is nothing but a wolf among a bunch of sheep. So now she's dead. The headline in Cincinnati said, well, these bunch of black people just beat up this librarian and nobody knows why. Occam's razor says the simplest explanation is the best. We know black on white criminality is wildly out of proportion. We know the black crime rate is wildly out of proportion. Somehow, would it make you feel better? Would you feel more educated if you actually knew the exact numbers? We've flashed them up here many times. The numbers don't do us any good. We're past the numbers now. We're at the point of saying, what the hell is going on? Why are so many white kids like Marissa Joy Edmunds targets? Why is this old dude down in Alabama? Why is he a target?
Dropping revelation in Polk County today. The sheriff telling us the man who shot and killed a gun collector is a FEMA contract worker who met the victim after Hurricane Irma. The victim's daughter is also speaking out for the first time tonight. News Channel 8's Chip Osowski joining us live from the sheriff's office. And Chip, in a way, this new information helps the daughter better understand how this could have happened.
Absolutely. She says that her dad helped after hurricanes, and that makes her understand better why this all happened. The guy we're talking about is 18-year-old Jerwan Jackson. He and two other men are currently in custody in Mobile, Alabama, facing numerous charges, including first-degree murder.
He was a good man. He was a great-grandfather.
Katrina Urso, trying to make sense out of the senseless. Her dad, 68-year-old William Reese, gunned down in cold blood. His best friend, Kenneth Mayer, also shot and critically injured.
He loved Facebook quizzes. He liked, and Ken is an amazing man. He has treated my kids like they're his grandkids.
The shooting happened at this Polk City home on January 3rd. Investigators tell us Jerwan Jackson was the shooter. He traveled to the home from Alabama with Darrell Lamar Rankin Jr. and Kenley Campbell.
And along the way, Jerwan told his two counterparts, Darrell Rankin and Kenley Campbell, he said, I tell you what, I'm just going to kill him.
The sheriff says Jackson met Reese after Hurricane Irma while working as a FEMA contractor and discovered his fondness for firearms. Urso now understands why her dad let him in.
Because I'm like, he's a smart man. He's not just going to let anyone in his house. He's not going to invite a stranger, here, come look at my guns. He wouldn't do that. So it kind of makes me feel a little better to know that, like, that piece of the puzzle, that wasn't him.
Why is this grandmother who's working her butt off, why is she a target?
But we're getting our first look at a Valley mother gunned down as she showed up for work at a check cashing business in the Central Valley just hours ago.
Tonight, police say they have very little to go on to solve this senseless murder. 13 Action News anchor Masa Saidi is live near Jones and Vegas Drive with information on who police might be looking for tonight. Masa.
Steve Trisha, police tell us they're looking for two younger men wearing dark clothes. That is all we know right now. They tell us the victim was opening this door when they followed her inside. Then for some reason, they opened fire.
She was never afraid. She loved her job.
Her mom, Celia Luna, wasn't scared, but she understood the dangers of the check cashing business. There was a protocol she strictly followed.
She walks in the door, she calls the GM or whoever it must be, and I'm here, I'm safe, I've opened.
But this morning, something went horribly wrong. Detectives soon surrounding the business as the 55-year-old mom is rushed to the hospital. Police say she was shot inside, but still managed to call 911. Her children on her mind moments before she died.
When the paramedics picked her up, that she gave my number, my brother's number and my aunt's number to them so that they could call.
Her daughter Shayla sharing these memories. painful, but still comforting. Tonight, as police search for the two killers, a family praying for an arrest in this most senseless of crimes.
Two.
She was an amazing girl. Her laugh was contagious.
You see this surveillance camera. If and when police release surveillance video to us, we are going to be sure to bring it to you. Here's a look at the scene inside. We're told that the killers ran out of the back of the building, and no information on a motive.
If this case sounds familiar, the one we're about to see, it should, because it resembles the FEMA case. A couple fellas walk up in the door and said, "Hey, what's up? It's your old buddy, Jaquil. It's your old friend. Remember me? I helped you out on FEMA. Let me in." Here the line is, "Hey, do you remember me? I was your nurse. I want you to meet my boyfriend."
In Crime Watch 8 tonight, two people from Indianapolis have been arrested for the murder of a 74-year-old woman from Brownsburg. Alice Wright was found dead in her home this past weekend, and police say the pair accused of killing Wright knew her. 24-Hour News 8's Eric Feldman found out how and has the latest on this investigation. Good evening, Eric.
Good evening, Brooke. We do have more answers, but many questions still do swirl around this investigation. So the pair arrested are Keisha Summerhill and Ariane Cruthard. They were arrested earlier today in Indianapolis, and Brownsburg police say Summerhill and Cruthard are dating and respectively 18 and 19 years old. Now, how did they know the Wright family? Summerhill actually served as a nurse's aide in the past for Wright's husband. Police believe the pair intended to rob the Wright family. Alice Wright was found in her bedroom. Police say the autopsy showed she died from multiple sources of trauma that complicated her heart conditions. Now, earlier this week, neighbors told us Alice Wright was a sweet, down-to-earth grandmother. The murder really rocking this Brownsburg community.
You know, in this day and age, you need to stay aware of what's going on around you. You do need to protect yourself. There's no leaving your doors unlocked to your residence anymore. There's no leaving your cars unlocked. You do need to take precautions to protect yourself because these things do happen.
So many questions do remain. How did these suspects get inside the Wright home? Also, what exactly happened inside once they did? Police wouldn't say if there was a confrontation inside. Earlier this week, Brownsburg police said that Wright was shot. But now they're saying the cause of death was from some sort of trauma and her heart condition. On the other hand, Wright's husband was in their living room at the time that Wright's body was found by their daughter. And Wright's daughter did find him on the ground alive, but off his wheelchair. It's unclear if he was pushed off or if he fell off.
Why did this guy have to die?
County man missing for almost a month has been found.
Deputies found the body of Michael Bowes in his car in an area known as the washout area. According to investigators, Bowes had been shot twice. CBS North Carolina investigative reporter Richard Essex went to Vance County to get answers about those now charged in the murder.
The Vance County Office of the Sheriff said they have arrested two people in the murder of 46-year-old Michael Bowles. Michael Bowles was reported missing on December 21st. He was found Sunday inside of his car on a private road in the eastern part of the county. Investigators believe that he had been shot at least twice. The person suspected of pulling the trigger is 23-year-old John Jefferson of Henderson. His alleged accomplice, also charged with murder, is 17-year-old Tanetta Mayfield. Investigators believe the motive was robbery. The victim had been robbed a couple weeks ago before he was reported missing.
He said, "Somebody's found my phone. I've got to go get it." He said, but I'm going to be straight back.
But at this point, it doesn't appear that the two are directly connected. Investigators believe that there will be additional charges and additional suspects.
Why did Deborah Collins have to die down in Westlake, Texas? A couple of fellas were doing something or another. I know, but you know what? I don't even feel like telling you, because to tell you is to attach some significance to it that it does not have. She wasn't doing anything to the fellas. She wasn't ripping them off in a drug deal. She wasn't buying drugs from them or selling. It was just a thing. That's what they do. That's why violence is their thing. It's hard to hear for a lot of people. people on this video, people we just featured, they will never hear it again. Maybe they never heard it in the first place. Maybe that's why they're dead now. But still, looking at my Twitter feed, I can tell when somebody posts one of my tweets or one of my videos to some vague black website somewhere. Because we get the trolls kind of come in floods, and then we ask them for a little proof, and they disappear. It's like we're waving kryptonite at them. They're always very positive of what the cause is. The cause is Colin's a bad person for noticing, but as far as the people committing the crime and the violence so wildly out of proportion, black on black, black on white, black on young, black on gay, black on straight, black on old, black on man, black on woman, black on kitties, puppies and turtles. We don't have an answer. Even the trolls now are starting to lose their steam, lose their nerve. Even they're having a hard time saying, yeah, Colin, it was slavery. Yeah, that's what it did. It slavery. I mean, the only answer we have for any of the trolls on Twitter or on here, on Minds.com or on YouTube, is listen, okay, I know, you say I'm a bad person. You say this black criminality is not a thing. I'm just making the whole thing up. I'm cherry picking. And you come and tell us. Well, that's not going to disprove anything. What I want you to do is go find the closest black neighborhood to your house. Just go down and find a bunch of the fellows on the corner. Go down and tell them you're down with the cause. Go down and tell them you don't like Colin Flaherty because he's been exposing this black criminality. And you want them to know you're the only white person in America who's figured that out. You're the only person who's figured it out about black on Asian crime. It doesn't exist. Just head down there. You know what you should do? Take a nice expensive camera and take some pictures too. Walk around. Talk to the people on their porches. Let us know how that turns out. I'd give you a warning. I'd give this troll a warning, but he would not listen anyway. But for the rest of you, if anybody deciding to take me up on that idiotic suggestion I just made, fair warning, white people going into black neighborhoods to tell them the good news that black criminality does not exist wildly out of proportion, and any crime that does exist is really the fault of white people. Fair warning. Even that makes the black kids angry.